don't know.
Gotta do what you can. This is Jackie, and I am here with Grandson Day 2 of Riot Fest. You hanging in there so far?
Yeah.
All right, grab some shade, man. Like, it's too hot out. I'm not that short.
I'm trying to catch it, but
Oh, man. Modern Tragedy Volume 3 is out now. Volume 3. Who did the treatment for that video, Rock Bottom?
I wrote it with my manager, and then we pitched it around through Warner, and then a brilliant director named Seth came through and smashed it. I love how dark it is, and with this project, we want to be disruptive. We want to do shit that I can say shit, right?
Please.
We want to do shit that, while still being accessible and inviting and inclusive, is going to make your parents uncomfortable. I think that that's like a really integral part of rock and roll and part of youth culture. And I'm proud to make videos, songs that we try to lead with the message and with the aesthetic and not have it just be about my brooding face or something.
I feel like punk and rap have a similar theme, at least in 2019, where they're trying to be inclusive but also get a message home. So feel free to, I teach high school. You can keep pissing off parents.
What do
it's
you
fine.
teach in high school?
English.
Sick. That's so cool. That was going to be my job before I found music.
Nice.
I think your job's harder than mine.
I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Tell new listeners about your XX Rock Bottom campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking about that. Since the onset of this project, we've been trying to find ways to take the themes embedded in the songs and in the project off of people's headphones and into their communities. And what will define in my mind whether this project is a success or not is the residual impact felt in communities from the introduction of the grandkids. So the XX Rock Bottom campaign was one way in which we're trying to facilitate conversation and dialogue around difficult conversations to be had and difficult discussions. So basically our plan was 100 tickets, 100 t-shirts. We'll give stuff away if you're willing to post on your social media and talk about your rock bottom moment. This particular campaign was around gun violence, which is a huge problem here in Chicago. And it's not just the big mass shootings on your news feed. It's every single day there is unnecessary death because of access to guns. So we just wanted to encourage people to have difficult conversations about how they've been affected. And we had literally over 120-something kids talking about whether it was a lockdown drill they had to go through as a child, a sibling that was affected, family and friends lost to gun violence. It was an incredible opportunity to really feel on my end of this thing that there are real human beings on the other end, and trying to just make it a little bit easier to get those conversations started that need to be had in 2019.
I can tell you, as someone who works in a high school, having to just tell kids about lockdown drills and what we're going to do is never something I ever envisioned having to do as part of my job. It's weird.
One of the most frustrating things has been the process of normalizing these behaviors over the last 10 years. I just finished an incredible book by an author named Dave Cullen on Columbine, and just how rocked America was by when that happened. And now we've just become so anesthetized, so calloused. And I think part of breaking that system is reminding people that every day we are choosing implicitly to perpetuate these norms by not addressing them, by not holding our politicians accountable. And so, yeah, it's time for progressive legislation to come forward to try and troubleshoot systemic failure, and that's only going to come when we collectively demand it. And what better space to encourage that than in rock music? You know, what's the point of alternative music if all it's going to do is be pop music masquerading with an acoustic guitar? That's my philosophy, and that's why I do what I do.
Absolutely, I love that. How did you come to create the XX Resistance movement in the first place?
Yeah, I think, again, it's like we were just looking to find ways to galvanize and empower the community. I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to build a nonprofit, but ultimately, after doing some homework, we found that the most effective thing that we could do is actually use our platform as a megaphone for people that are already making change. What's up, dog? I fucking see you. Hold on, sorry. I'll come say hi in a sec. So basically what XX Resistance is a fund that's going to be distributing resources to community leaders, to organizations across America, across North America, across the world that are doing this work. There are activists, there are volunteers for little to no money who are dedicating their lives to advocating for voter rights, advocating for climate change policies, advocating against gun violence. So what XX Resistance is through the meet and greet, through certain limited edition merch, through different facets of a touring artist's revenue streams, different verticals. We're trying to take a little bit of that and use it to impact communities. And again, it's just about growing the footprint of being a grandkid. What does that mean? When you put on this merch, when you stand at this concert and you look around this room, you see people who reflect your ideology back at you, who believe the same things you believe. Those were things that I believed in very strongly. Growing up privileged in a progressive family, growing up in Canada, it was really when I came down here and started touring more in the middle of America, touring in places like Alabama, Oklahoma, going down to Florida, going to Wisconsin, swing states, where I really learned that a lot of these kids don't even have the voice that I was just born into. So that really made me feel a greater sense of purpose and a greater sense of urgency to get that started. So thank you for asking these kind of questions.
Absolutely. I thank you for sort of encouraging people to do. I think the idea of thoughts and prayers is so trite, it's become insulting.
Yeah.
Kids are honestly just sort of wondering, like, when is it going to be my turn to have to deal with this at a more personal level? And that's terrible. So
these are 14 and 15-year-olds, these are young people that are having to navigate an unprecedented amount of transparency. There's more access to information than ever, and the information that they're reading and watching on the news is not good. Their president is talking belligerently about misogyny, about corporate greed, about corruption, and we're just letting it happen because we've become so tribalized, we've become so partisan, and it's for these kids. These are the kids that are buying the CDs and buying the tickets, and I am a public servant. I really do believe my responsibility as an artist, as the one with the microphone, my job is to just give you an access into this community and remind you that you're not alone. If you feel marginalized, if you feel like your voice isn't heard, then come join the grandkids, and we're going to rock together. That's the plan.
Excellent. I know during the Democratic presidential debates, I believe it was yesterday, there are a bunch of different people that were talking about their different plans for gun control and other issues. Is there one candidate that sticks out in your mind that you're like, I would like to lean my support towards, or do you think that we should?
I think it's very early. I encourage people to take the time to answer those questions for yourself. I've been trying to read up. There are
too many candidates right now.
Yeah, there's still a lot of people on the stage, and they all have really different backstories, reasons they got into politics, their policies, whether they're career politicians or legislators or in the judiciary system like Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, or you have people that are coming from the outside like Andrew Yang. But any of these people would be better for the planet and for the climate, for the political climate today than our current president. So I'm just waiting and seeing, and I'm trying to inform myself as best I can, and I'm trying to encourage people to do that work for themselves. It's not that hard. It's not that scary.
2019 has been a pretty stressful year, and young people and older people too turn to music when time gets rough. What music do you listen to when you kind of need a break from the bullshit that's going on?
That's a good question. And I really do think that music splits into two roles. You can either use it as a form of escape, and you can use it to confront these things. And I think that a lot of people that listen to my music are here to confront these things head on, but I believe that you can fluidly shift between both. I listen to a lot of hip hop, a lot of acoustic music, a lot of instrumental kind of lo-fi hip hop, I listen to a lot of stuff to kind of turn my mind off, a lot of podcasts. Nothing in particular. I try to allow myself to take a break, because it's very easy to get burnt out when you're trying to spend all this time making change that is very slow and can be generational. I think a good example of one of the things that is important to reinforce is the social justice movement. Martin Luther King. This was generations of work. A lot of people were protesting and going to jail and didn't even live to see an African American become president. These things are going to take some time. It's important to be patient and be proud of yourself for being a part of it and giving a shit, and not expect these things to happen overnight. So take a break, listen to whatever you got to listen to turn your mind off, because that's certainly what we try to do.
What's up next for you after Riot Fest?
We're still on tour. The End of the Beginning tour is going on until November across America. Get your tickets. And then we're building. I've got like 3 different projects I'm finishing writing, more shows. I'm so unbelievably fortunate to be in this position where we got a lot going on, because I remember not that long ago we had nothing going on. So we got a bunch of shit going on, and you're going to have to just follow along at Grandson or go to grandsonmusic.com to get more information.
Stay tuned for much more from Grandson. This is Jackie. Thanks.